Hey everybody, Dee Dee here, and I'm just going to show you a couple quick ways to alter your ribbon with different kinds of inks and different mediums. I've got 3932501, and I've also got XL09, and these are going out in the Ink It challenge along with 3 other ribbons. But my example today is just going to show these 2, otherwise we'd be here forever. I started by cutting myself 2 of these cream colored leaves, and just real quick, I'm just going to show you how to make this little flower here and see the color of my flower versus the white that it came on the May Arts ribbon. So I've got 2 of the ivory leaves and I just need 1 of the flowers, and they're really easy to cut too, because they're on this wired sheer ribbon, which is great also, but for my use, I just wanted 1 flower all on its own. So, cut apart one of the white flowers, and get out your craft mat or your non-stick surface. My craft mat is in really bad condition, so I'm just going to show you on a plastic lid. I know, funny, huh? On a plastic lid real quick, so that I'm not soaking the paper. But I'm using Distress Stain in Pumice Stone. It's kind of a gray, but more of a brown, or not really taupe because it's not that light, but it's just got a great color and it really matched the paper that I use for my tags. There is a weathered wood, which is kind of a blue-gray, but I went with this pumice stone one. And because the May Arts ribbons are just so beautiful on their own, you don't always have to alter them if you don't want to. But of course, for this challenge, it's Ink It. So I've chosen my pumice stone Distress Stain, and I'm just gonna dab it on. And if you want a little bit of a variegated, you know, kind of two-toned flower, then you don't have to ink the whole thing. But I'm also going to show you a second way to get another color in your flower, so not necessarily realistic, but just more interesting and a little more appealing. So that's it. I've just inked up the flower, and of course don't worry about getting it on the shear, because my next step is to cut it off of the shear. And I just flipped it over, and you can see where the shear I mean, it doesn't end, that's where it's sewn in, but where it meets the actual flower. And I did cut this little tail off. I don't need it for anything I'm doing. And then I just snip in a little bit, and it's sheer, so it's not really going to show up too much if you leave a little on the edge if you're too afraid to get too close. And I have really sharp scissors right here. You may want to use fabric scissors, but I wouldn't use scissors that you use every day, just to make sure you get, you know, a nice clean quick line, because you don't want to be here at this all day long, and you don't want to ruin any scissors that you have for anything else. And because we are working with fabric, like fabric shear scissors would be perfect. They are a little big, I know that, so maybe one of your smaller quilting pairs or something would work. Okay, so a little choppy, but I want to move on. And then, you could have dried it before, but I always hit it with a heat gun to kind of set that ink. Okay, that should be good. And then, what I've got is Ranger's Archival ink, and I always have it in jet black, but you could always use a brown, or even a color, a red, or like a yellow would look really good on this. But the black is what worked with my paper, so don't forget that your possibilities are endless. Change the colors, change your materials, but I'm just showing you how I did mine. So I used the pumice stone Distress Stain, and then I've got Archival black ink, and I just rub it across the top. And can you see the difference between the 2 halves? Now it's a 2-tone flower, and it just adds a little dimension and a little interest, because I took some of that away when I colored it kind of a weird brown color. And then I set that to the side to dry. And once it's dry, I just glued a tiny little pearl in the middle. And now, remove my non-stick surface. And I've got these leaves. And believe it or not, I just stitch them with a pin. You could stitch them with a sewing needle if you want, because it's an Ink It challenge, and I don't mind drawing. I actually really love doodling on my pieces. Then I grab my favorite pen, and it's just the you know, the Uniball Precise V7 pen, and it's in black too. And if you need to practice to do this, you can always practice on the paper, but just making your stitches look a little uniform. And I never worry about going in a straight line. I mean, you can sew in a straight line, but that's not always easiest to draw in a straight line. So then I just started at one end, and because these are kind of velvety, like almost a leather, the ink bleeds, and it looks really cool, because then instead of it being jet black, it kind of turns into this like molded out kind of gray. Do you see that happening? It's pretty cool. Do the second one. Oops, a little uneven. That's alright. Makes it look rustic that way, huh? Alright, and then those are done. And once I've got my pearl put in the middle, then I glued these two leaves together like this, and I glued them underneath with my pearl in the middle, and then I just put it on top of a rosette. See that? Isn't that cool? Alright, thank you.